I've got my parent and carer hat on. My son has an ABI after a stroke, but I've also got a teacher hat on as well, so a little bit of both. First of all, I want to acknowledge everybody's talks and just let you know that I found it incredibly interesting and fascinating. But I wanted to just make a comment about this idea of level playing field. So, Cal, you've talked about it quite a lot, about, you know, the level playing field with people with living experience and obviously the researchers with a huge amount of knowledge. So it's about how do we combine it well. And one of the things that really resonates with me as I'm listening is we talk about, somebody mentioned burnout, you know, and about, you know, we immediately think of the long-term effects of burnout. I had a different view, and I'm thinking burnout for a person with an ABI is burnout in a session. And people, maybe researchers, not being aware of what does this person need during this session. So even down to, you know, that trust, building up the trust is part of saying, what do you need from me? When do you need a break? Am I talking too fast? Should I be drawing diagrams? Would that help you more? Should I do dot points? Absolutely bringing it down to, you know, getting rid of, like you're talking, Cal, about a lot of, I suppose, the extras that make it really complicated for some of these people who want to be involved. So I'm sort of thinking, you know, we all, from a teacher's point of view, all our population learns in different ways. And, you know, we need to acknowledge that every person that you're going to work with or co-design with is going to have a different learning style, and just to take that into consideration so that, you know, you're recognising, I know time is really critical for you researchers, and you're thinking, you know, we have to get so much done in this session, but you have to pare it back and think, okay, what is this person able to cope with? You know, building in those breaks, building up the trust to say, can you let me know when you need a break? Can you let me know when things are moving too fast? So, yeah, I just wanted to bring that point of view, because I've watched too often, you know, where there's so much happening and it's too busy, and these people have heaps to offer, but sometimes, you know, they can't do it all in one 45 or 60-minute session. So you might just have to think about, you know, having different ways of working together.
I think, Marie, that's such a great question and a great point, and something we certainly discovered, you know, when I talked about our 3 focus groups. That was actually, it's about 12 meetings to kind of get through our 3 focus groups, because for some people they could work through it all in this time we had planned, and for others it was, let's meet one-on-one and follow up maybe 3 more times to make sure that, you know, you get the same opportunity to give your voice on all the different aspects and have it at the right pace. But it's a real tension between needs of all of us for what we can manage personally and what the expectations are with the project. And I think for me, as someone who's always learning about this, it's about also, you know, us doing, as researcher hats, a better job of putting in our timelines and what can be achieved. And I've seen some really great commentary in the chat as well about the funding aspect of that, and that's something that, you know, is really important in our project. I think all the projects we're talking about, that we're actually paying for that time and effort that everyone brings, because they're contributing to, you know, funded work as well. I think, Amelia, we're just mindful that we've been reaching out to the people who've raised their hands, but in the interest of inclusivity, there's people that have been asking questions in the written chat. Amelia's going to bring to our attention some of those questions. Thanks, Amelia.
Yes, no worries. I'm going to attempt to. It's a very fast-moving chat, so I apologise in advance if I miss any of your questions. I've been madly tweeting from the ASB account as well, and hopefully have captured some of the wonderful quotes from all of our great speakers. So one of the questions that Kate, you just alluded to a moment ago, was whether the funding is sort of built in for co-design. How is it built into budget and timeline? And how is co-design perceived by grant panels, particularly when it could be viewed as increased costs? So we'll just throw that out to everybody and jump in.
I have to say, I am very lucky, I guess, to sit on NHMRC panels for grant review, and it is not even a problem. You build it in appropriately, you build it in accurately, and it is never queried. And in fact, if it's not in there at NHMRC, then they would query whether you were in fact listening to community, and there is extra points that you get for community engagement. So it has never been a problem. I go to every meeting I go to and someone's paying my wage, so I think it would be enormously hypocritical if I ever expected somebody to come to a meeting for free. So I think we're all like-minded souls, and the other researchers can disagree if they are brave enough to, but we all pay, and we pay a fair wage, because not a minimum wage. I want your expertise, I should have to pay for it.
We pay the recently paid based on the one of the Consumer Council's rates. Put that in. I would like to say that I don't think time is reasonably factored in any grant, let alone a co-design grant, let alone for co-design for people with communication impairments. We know it takes so much more time, and time is the one thing that those people never ever get from people taking things slowly. So I think that that's, to me, we can put the money in, but sometimes we know it's going to take longer, but we've only been told you've got 12 months. And so from those point of views, it can be very difficult. I think we're starting to get the payment option right. The reality of the research time is not what I'm seeing yet, but hopefully in the future. And I just wanted to make sure that I went back and did a plug for communication. As I just said, there would be a lot of people who'd not be able to attend this meeting.
Yeah.
So we are excluding people today, and by our language, ironically. And they wouldn't be able to click on a link in the chat. They wouldn't be able to follow the chat. So I think we've done some research really recently that just being in research, let alone co-design, just being in research, I don't know if Kira's on the call, I think for people with aphasia, it must be less than 10% of RCT studies. And I was looking today to see that communication.
6%, it's even worse.
6%.
Yeah.
And I was looking today to see that speech pathology, communication, inclusion as well. So we've got work to do all around, but we can do it, and we will. I'm going to, that's for sure. I'm determined every day. So, yeah, so thank you so much for everything. I've learned a lot today. I've learned so much today, and I want you to know that we are listening.
I think Sam might be putting together an answer as well, if we've got a minute.
Flowers.
I'm going to put it in.
Flower. Church. I can't flow all the church.
Yeah, it is something we're really mindful of. So thank you, Emma and Sam, for raising that point. And it's something, we don't pretend that we've done this perfectly or that we know what perfect looks like. It's something that I hope these opportunities to come together and talk about give us new ways to learn how to be more and more inclusive And this will be recorded. There will be closed captions as well. Just mindful of the time and that we've only got a couple of minutes, and David has a few sort of closing remarks to bring this amazing session to a close. And you know, the conversation is really just getting started, but mindful that it is a lot of effort and time and energy for everyone, and we need to put a pause in it for now, but hopefully there are other opportunities to come together and keep these conversations going.
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone, for this discussion today. I think we could talk for hours, and yeah, I wish we could. But yeah, so for now, I think we've got to think about what happens from here. You know, I think we've covered some amazing themes. You know, about why people come to research, and what are the benefits, I suppose, of, you know, leveling those fields and connecting on shared values, but recognizing that, you know, that there are still challenges that exist, and we still have a lot of work to do. I also would like to say that we are going to focus on following up with everyone. We'd certainly, you know, like to get your feedback about today. We'd also like to share some resources with you, because, you know, I think, you know, we talk about kind of fresh voices in research, and we certainly want, you know, more people to be inspired to be part of research, you know, and not just as participants, but also as co-designers. You know, and I think that's, you know, one of the big whys from today is like, why did we do this? We just want more awareness for people to think that they can, you know, connect with researchers and be part of research. And the question came up before of, you know, is there a central spot for people to go to? And I think Tash had, you know, a great idea. Well, you know, as she said, we need to give people what the options are. You know, and we're going to share some resources with you, and we're going to get that from each of our presentations today. And yeah, I think, you know, we need to consider, you know, that the benefits outweigh, you know, the work that we've talked about, you know, and the challenges about time. And yeah, Kate, where are you? Is that?
Do you want the next slide?
Yeah. Did you want to thank everyone, perhaps?
Yeah, sure. I think there's just been an incredible response to this session, and thank you, everyone. I can see your chat comments coming through. I can see some even suggestions from Emma Power to maybe, you know, these meetings could continue on, and there could be some further work to include more people with different abilities, particularly around communication. I'm speaking too fast, I realise. I'll slow down. I'm also mindful that we were supposed to be face-to-face, and that the pandemic has thrown us with some extra challenges to navigate at short notice. But it would be incredibly valuable to hear how else we could make this more inclusive. A huge thank you today to wrap up to all of our incredible speakers from all different organisations, all different hats, representing different cohorts, different journeys, different experiences. A huge thank you to the 6th Pacific Rim Conference, so the 3 organisations who sort of supported us to put this on. To Caleb Rixon and the Genius Network for the incredible support, for helping us turn this into a digital event. Thank you to everyone who's participated today, shared your experiences, questions, thoughts and reflections in the chat. Our volunteers, Amelia Hicks and Emily Fitzgerald, thank you for all the behind the scenes support. We will have some follow-up emails with some information on the extra resources. I know there's been some questions about getting access to the copies of the slides, and so we'll check with our presenters that would be okay. We are going to stop the recording in a minute or two, but if you'd like, you are welcome to hang around. We thought for another 30 minutes or so. If there's more conversation that we can keep having, it would be an opportunity that, like, as we're leaving the building, the cup of tea chat that we didn't get to have face to face. And if you're willing to come back to that quick poll, just those 2 questions about, one question is, well, what do you know now about co-design? Be really interesting to see what impact this has had for you. And we've also got a question about whether you'd be interested in being involved in future co-design projects. And a third question about if you want to reflect on what you've gained from that. I'll just quickly read through the options to assist. So, how much do you know now about co-design? I know lots about it, a fair bit, only a little, or don't know anything. Would you want to be involved in future co-design projects? It's not for me at all, and that would be fair enough. You've made me a little bit interested, fairly interested, super interested, or don't know. And what have you gained from today's session? Hopefully you've learned what co-design is, learned about some current projects in brain impairment, learned how to link up with others, recognising that there's no one place, but that going to the different sort of peak organisations, Genius Network, Summer Foundation, there's more work to be done in that space as well of linking people up. Hopefully you can connect with people in the chat or from the presenters here. And that, you know, that maybe this would improve your likelihood and confidence to reach out to, if you're a researcher, to people with living expertise, and vice versa, if you're someone with living expertise, recognising we're all people here, we're all have the same common goal and value to improve the life for everyone, with, you know, whether that's brain impairment or the other kind of medical or other sort of social issues that we all experience. We're all humans here. So thank you everyone who's giving us that feedback. And yeah, well, I guess we'll, while that's still going, we can just formally close the session, but then informally open it up to a free-for-all of whoever wants to have a chit chat.
Before you do that,
Yep.
can I also step in? So it's Dana here. I'm one of the co-conveners of the 6 Pacific Rim Conference, and this session has been our first kind of element of that conference. So David and Kate have done an absolutely incredible job organising this. I just wanted to take my hat off to them and thank them so much for the incredible work that they've put into this. It really has, it's been years of planning really that's gone into this. And particularly from David. So yeah, really recognise and acknowledge you both, and thank you so much for kicking off the conference on such a brilliant note and such an inclusive note. All the things that you did to make the session accessible for everybody were fantastic. And Cal, thank you so much for stepping in and providing Genius as the online platform for this session. So thank you, David. Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Cal. Yeah, incredible job, and it's been really valuable.
Thanks, Dana. Thank you, everyone. A quick note that Glenn Cryer, if anyone's noticed, Glenn Cryer has been taking notes the whole time, completely unprompted, and he's shared that in the chat. So I think some people have noticed that and have downloaded that. If anyone would like Glenn's notes from today, and you don't have an opportunity to get it from the chat now, please just get in touch with us. I'm happy to share that with you later.
And I'll just also, you can just see up on your screen that we have moved from the majority only knowing a little bit to now the majority knows a fair bit, and there's 28% of you that now know a lot about it, so that's a big jump. And yeah, 70% almost are super interested in being involved in future. And so that's wonderful, really great feedback for us.
And there's no one who didn't learn anything. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I guess the people that stay around are the real troopers, the real passionate people. And yeah, the biggest outcome is that you've learned about the current projects in brain injury and brain impairment co-design, but a lot of other learnings as well, and more confidence in reaching out. And that's what this is all about, to help form new connections and bring in fresh voices. And we'll share these little stats in our sharings after the event as well. So thank you, really appreciate it.
Thanks everyone.